Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm really excited to have my good friend James Kolde here. He's been a member of Investor Fuel for several years, and he and his partner have and their team have built a really impressive business. And that's what we're going to talk about today is how to build a business that stands the test of time, from how you brand it to always doing the right thing to testing lots of things to make sure that you're constantly optimizing your business. It's going to be an amazing show if you're looking to scale your business up. So stay tuned. Professional real estate investors know that it's not really about the real estate. In fact, real estate is just a vehicle to freedom. A group of over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors from across the country meet several times a year at the Investor Fuel Real Estate Mastermind to share ideas on how to strengthen each other's businesses, but also to come together as friends and build more fulfilling lives for all of those around us. On today's show, we're going to continue our conversation of fueling our businesses and fueling our lives. I'm glad you're here. Hey, James, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mike.
Yeah, glad to have you here. I think I've been trying to get you on the show for a long time and finally reeled you in.
Right? I'm a hard guy to pin down sometimes.
Yeah. So hey, I'm excited to talk about this. You guys have built an amazing business, and I know you're still focused on growth and still focused on how to pull yourself as an owner more and more out of the business. But I know it didn't start that way. So tell us a little bit of the backstory about where you came from and how you got to where you are today.
The quick backstory is my neighbor, who's my business partner now, he was flipping a few houses and he needed a job suit. I was a firefighter. So they let me do it because I only work 10 days a month. So all of a sudden I flipped 3 or 4 of them for him. And he's like, hey, you want to go into business? I'm like, sure. I know the construction side and I'm good with people. It's like, all right, I know the business side. We sat at a bar. We wrote down that we were going to do 30 houses in a year, Mike. We did it in 3 months.
Yeah, wow.
I quit my job. Our first hire was my wife. And to be honest with you, had no clue what the hell, how this was going to work out. I just knew that I'm good with people. I can get deals. So I quit after 15 deals that we got, and we pretty much fixed and flipped everything. So I've been in every spot of our business from day one, from acquisitions to hanging cabinets to doing cleanouts. I've been there the whole way through.
Yeah.
So I just literally fell into it, to be honest with you. Never knew anything about it. So I got 6.5, 7 years under my belt now.
Yeah, that's great. So you guys started in what, like 2016-ish or so?
17. Yeah,
17,
late
okay.
2017 is when I was flipping those houses for Jason, and then we turned it into
so about 6 years.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
I like to say this is our 7th buying season, but really our 6th year, because we started up, we didn't have an office or anything.
You're doing about how many? I know it's up and down and the markets change things, but you're doing about how many deals a year now?
We're doing close to 200.
Okay.
And then we also do typical listings also for the team. So we do it. We do, you name it, we do it.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things we're going to talk about is like how to monetize everything you possibly can. And I think that's where we are. You guys have been doing that, for quite some time, but that's kind of where we are in the market now, is being able to monetize everything. So let's kind of jump into building what I'll call a real business, like one that has a big team, lots of employees. And that's the only way you can ultimately pull yourself out of the business and truly be an owner, is to scale up. And that doesn't have to be everybody's goals, but I know that that's part of your goal. So I wanted to kind of get into, a little bit about what your team looks like. And you guys have been focused from very early on to building a team because you have some limitations on what you're good at and what you can even do, right?
I'm a C student who hires A players. I'm 100% that, the book, that's exactly what it's about. My 100% specialty is with people, connecting with people, emphasizing with people when somebody died in their family, or mom and dad passed away. It's just that they connect really well. I'll be honest with you, I'm not your traditional sales guy either. I go in there with a hockey jersey. I go in there just looking like
the Dallas Stars jersey, right?
No. That's a long story.
That's an inside joke, guys. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what they like. I always tell people, that are typical agents, they drink the Kool-Aid, because in this business, you have to think outside the box. You have to be different. And that's what I was. I was different. I was dealing with people that didn't want somebody to show up in a Maserati and get out and with their golf clubs, and I just got done playing 18 holes of golf. No one cares, dude. No one cares. We truly like to help people. Do I want some of that stuff too? Absolutely. I'm not going to lie, but I'm not one to show it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So talk a little about the team, like building out your team, and I guess the early stages of what the vision you had, and then kind of what it's turned into.
So the early stages, we started with basically somebody answering the phone, answering leads manager. And then it went from leads manager to, we actually hired my wife. She was the first person. She pretty much did everything right out of the gates. Then we started doing TV commercials right away. And we needed a leads manager to lead all that, to push me to the sales. Then we hired another sales guy. I trained him in, and then it just grew so fast that we ended up getting 5 to 6 acquisitions people. And then we're like, I don't want to run the business. It got to the point where I'm managing them, and I'm not doing what I'm really good at, is actually getting deals. And so we decided that we're going to hire a COO. And so we hired a COO to put our vision to where it's at. Now it's great. I feel very blessed to be where we're at, but you do have to start small, but you have to have that vision, that knowing you're going to grow.
Yeah.
There's some guys out there, Mike, that make this business look really glamorous. It's not. And if I'm talking to the true people that are listening to this this channel, they know that. But is it a great business? Does it give you freedom? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's what everybody loves.
And
I've sold more homes on vacation than I had.
Yeah, we've joked about that for years, is that our business tends to do better when I'm away than if I'm on vacation somewhere, like, because I just get out of the way, right? And people are getting stuff done. I'm not giving them new things to work on or whatever it might be. But
so then the ultimate goal, Mike, was to get Jada and I out of the day-to-day all the time. And we just hit it. We just hit that. In all honesty, I'm at the point now where I'm just going to do stuff I live about an hour away from the office on the north side. And so I'm just going to do what I do best up here and let our COO run the business. And I'm on the advisory, and I don't it's what do I do next? But I've actually achieved that goal.
Yeah.
Sorry if I ruined the surprise at the end. But
that was going to be the ending, dude. I told you.
Yeah. My bad.
No, I'm joking. So, but let's talk about in terms of one of the things that I don't know exactly if you guys have been doing this from the beginning, and there's a lot of investors that would also list a deal or refer a listing out, but you guys offer, a few options. You go in and here's your cash price. Here's what you could do to list it. And I don't know, we don't have to go into the details of exactly how you introduce that, but talk about like when you introduced being able to do listings and other exit strategies.
Listing comes at the very end, Mike. We want to make sure that everybody knows on our, what was that?
You don't want to cannibalize yourself for sure, right?
Right. Listing only comes at the very end. Okay. They saw our commercial. They're calling us. They want a cash offer. So you arrive with your cash hat on. And how many times, this as well as I do, you arrive to a house and this thing is beautiful. There's, I'm sorry for the mess. I'm like, okay, there's no mess.
Yeah.
And they want a cash offer, and that's not going to work for them. It's just what is it? Only 1-2% people work on the cash side. So I don't want to lose the deal. So then you're probably not going to like the cash offer. You still give it to them, but then you turn around and put your real estate hat on. I can also list your house too, depending on which side you choose on.
Right.
So it's giving them that option. Again, you don't roll it out. You just have that when you're not going to be able to use it, if that makes sense.
And do you guys do something else too? Do you do like a fix and list type thing, or what are the different offers that you typically give? Cash price, you could possibly list it if you have to. Isn't there something else you do too?
Well, we call it a 14-day. We tell people we're wholesaling their property.
Okay.
Hey, you want to just have a cash price, we'll give you a cash price. But we also give you what we call the 14-day, and we can give you more money You just sell it against the cash side. You want it super easy, or you want it starts to get harder as you start moving from left to right.
Right.
It just, Mike, again, it's just doing the right thing. It's not steering them on anything. It's like, you're truly, hey, I'm here to help. I always say that we're a full solution real estate company. You
Yeah.
have an issue, let's figure out how we can solve that problem.
Yeah. And I'd say historically, even for me, like we weren't licensed and we didn't try to get listings. I mean, there have been periods of time over the years where I would partner with somebody and I'm like, we're going to send all of our listing opportunities to you. And it was just never a sizable opportunity. And part of it is you
It's
lose
that
sight of-
transfer.
Yeah, the transfer is hard, the handoff is hard, right? But I absolutely understand the value of it now. Of It's not about hitting home runs, it's about helping the person and trying to be a
Right.
solution to them, for one. And two, even if it's a little bit of money, it allows you to at least offset your marketing costs and kind of recoup some of your expense to do that in the first place.
Here's a really good solution for everybody who's listening: is you don't necessarily let that person who's offering the cash list it. That's the mistake that I made in the beginning. What you do is it's a soft handoff to, oh yes, we can list this property for you. And then I'm going to get Susie. She's part of the team, and then all of a sudden Susie just kind of rolls in there, and she gets part of it. The initial agent now gets paid just for handing it off, and then the company gets paid.
Yeah, and by the way, I know the context of that. Even and this is going to become required ultimately everywhere, but even your acquisitions managers are licensed, right?
Correct. Yep.
So you're saying
we're
even
actually
licensed. Do you want them to be acquisitions and not an agent,
correct,
not a listing
right.
agent? Yeah.
Right, and we made that mistake, but it was also in the very beginning. That's how I could get people to come work for us. Hey, I'll give you half. We made an extra 250 for the company because we were making listings also. Now, who knows if we lost some of those to cash deals, but then when we came up with the right pattern, let's say, and then started working out a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they want to push that cash.
So you mentioned a moment ago doing the right thing. Now you guys, and I happen to have some context because obviously you guys are in my group and we're friends and everything, that you guys have really built up a strong brand. Maybe you could talk about that for a second. And then you mentioned doing the right thing. And I know that like you and Jaden's faces are on the brand, right? Like you're a part of that brand, right, wrong or indifferent. That's just how it is now. And I think that holds you to a different level of accountability to do the right thing because it's going to come back to you directly. And not that every business owner shouldn't do the right thing, but talk a little about your branding to give some context, and then talk about always doing the right thing and what that means for you.
Doing the right thing, obviously with a brand is really huge, Mike, because we don't ever want to tarnish the brand.
Yeah.
And so it actually makes us, we're always looking at something, we're always looking at the brand. You can drive down the road and see my big old melon on a billboard, but it's out there. What I'm, again, I don't want to, we don't want to tarnish the brand. And so doing the right thing is maybe not, somebody says they want $50,000 for their property and it's worth, your algorithm comes up and it's probably worth 100, give them 90. That's how I look at it, because you are still making your spread. These people have no clue. These people who call us, they're down on their luck. I mean, you know that you've seen the clientele. So you want to make sure that doesn't all of a sudden circle back and all of a sudden somebody says, oh, this person took my house for 50 and I could easily got 90 for it. Obviously that's just a quick example, but it's just doing the right thing, helping somebody out. I don't know how many times we helped somebody move. I don't recommend it all the time, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm just
unintended consequences of that, but yeah.
Well, right. So it's always helping out. So yeah, doing the right thing is 100% for the branding. It's 100% for longevity of our company. And that's where, again, you have to have goals. And Jada and I have always had those goals of having this longevity of everybody knows our logo, our Minnesota home guys. That's our ultimate. I don't even want to say legacy, but that's a little deep.
Yeah. And you guys have, just to give some context for people listening, you guys have like kind of cartoon caricatures of yourselves, right?
Yes.
Really buff bodies and oversized heads or something like
Hey, whatever. That's
that.
what do they say? The camera what gains, you gain 15, 20 pounds. When you're a cartoon, you can do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. That's funny.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little about investing in your team. You guys have a good sized team now. Like, how many people do you have on your team?
I believe now there's 16 in-house and another 4 or 5 that are either virtual or just happen to live in another state.
Yeah.
But they're not, and I say because we're about to head to the racetrack today to do. We try to do a quarterly events for the team. It's really about making sure we get back to the team when they do a kick-ass job. You need to make sure you take care of your people. That's huge.
That's great. So talk a little bit about investing in your team and in yourselves too. Obviously you guys are in Investor Fuel, so you invest a lot in yourselves as well, but just talk about kind of your team and then investing in yourself, the power.
Investing in the team is we get people like Jerry Green to come out and teach them some different skills that Jerry has to offer, which I have to highly recommend. He did a kick-ass job. The team is still raving about it. So I'll take my royalty checks, Jerry, when for giving that out. And then Investor Fuel is awesome. Now, my wife doesn't necessarily always like it when we go to Investor Fuel. And the reason, Mike, I'm not trying to scare you or set you up or anything, is because we come back with all these great ideas and we want to implement them all at the same time. And everyone's like, whoa,
and you
whoa,
ask her
stop.
to do it all, yeah.
Right. So what we've actually learned is, okay, we start to hear things a little bit more. Let's try to maybe do 1 or 2, not all 10 of them that we learned at every meeting.
Right.
But being at an Investor Fuel with other people that are in our business is so stinking awesome. And I think I was telling you before the show started, I love even seeing these people that are in the little bit of the lower group that, I could see their eyes where mine were back then. Holy crap, this is what I want to do this. And I'm like, yeah, we're there. Oh, really? And that just makes me exciting too, that just seeing their faces. So it's been great. It's very motivational for me to go and then come back and go, all right, I'm ready. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go rock and roll.
Yeah.
So,
no, I think it's a chance to refresh. It's a chance to get, I just got back from a vacation. I mean, anytime you kind of pull yourself out of your element and you go somewhere else, you have a chance to reflect. And especially when you're around other people that are like you. So you hear some little nuggets, some ideas, gives you a chance to iterate and think about something you tried and how to do it a little bit differently based on maybe something you heard from somebody else, right? There's lots of little nuggets. It doesn't take much to move the needle either, right?
It doesn't take much, but not only that, Mike, is you start to see the trends. So we know if a lot of stuff happens on the west side, it starts to trend over. So sometimes because there's other guys that are on, the west side, like Kevin, all those guys that who are the firefighters down there
west
in
side,
San
you're talking
Diego.
about the West Coast, yeah.
West Coast, yeah,
Yeah.
right. And everything kind of slowly, obviously, heads this way. So it's nice to be able to get a little heads up and, hey, this is what's happening.
Right.
With when you get all these people, and then you're more than likely to share, and not so much golden nuggets. I mean, sometimes they're golden nuggets to some people, to this group than you would your own personal group in your hometown,
in your same market, right?
Right. Yeah. You're not going to tell them what you're doing because they're going to turn around and do it, right?
Yeah.
So it gets exciting.
Yeah, and to be fair, and there's definitely people that we have that are, heavy hitters that are in the same market, and a lot of times they'll either invite each other in, like somebody brought somebody in that's really their competition, but they were a little more open-minded, or they find ways to collaborate. There's a lot of good things that I think our group overall finds ways to collaborate, and work together for sure. Even people in the same market, which has been really cool.
Yeah, and that's what I've noticed too, because we've actually have a couple more people in our market now, and they bought from us, and it's great.
Yeah,
and it's so, and we actually talk about, are you getting people to sign? Nope, I don't know. It's got to be the weather, I mean, it's just, and it seems like we're going through the same. It makes us it validates us when we look at our KPIs.
Yeah.
It validates that, hey, it's not really us. Sometimes it is the weather when you live in Minnesota and it gets -20 below and no one wants to leave the house, you know?
Right. Yeah. So, let's talk about that. Kind of something you were just saying, like testing new things. I know you guys are big enough to where you've tried probably every lead gen channel, and some works and some doesn't work and some you have to adjust. But just the importance of, I think one of the things that happens at a mastermind is you sometimes there's shiny objects there of like, here's some new thing we're doing, but just talk about the importance of being willing to test stuff and try new stuff to see if you can make it work in your business.
You probably know the numbers on this. What is it? You always want to test what? Is it 10%, 20% of, of just new things all the time? Of course, you want to stick with what works.
Sure.
But you always see things are constantly changing. We do pretty much a little bit of everything, but we know what works the best.
Yeah.
And so, but you all of a sudden, you always want to dive into different things. Let's say mailings to cold calling. I think cold calling for a while was just kicking butt, right? Then all of a sudden it kind of died. And then all of a sudden it started coming back up with texting. So again, we've tried every single avenue out there. Honestly, the billboards are the first time we've ever tried them. That started this year.
Yeah.
And again, the only thing bad about billboards is it's more of a brand recognition
Sure.
than it is
Call to action.
Yeah, no one's ever gonna.
It's not as direct response as TV might be or mail, right? So
correct. And we've had people mailings, 4 years old, 5 years old, come back, and because they put it in that drawer, they're just not ready.
Yeah.
So
but it's important to constantly try stuff, and sometimes you have these preconceived notions about what might or might work, but you don't really know until you do it and try it, right?
But you have to try it so you can say that you did, right? I mean, there's times where we spent $60,000 on some kind of campaign and we're just kicking ourselves. But you don't know unless you try.
Right.
And that's why you have to be willing to have a little bit of a budget when it comes to that. I mean, we got a pretty hefty budget for our advertising, and it's like sometimes some of it doesn't produce all the time.
Yeah, but you don't know until you try. And sometimes there's stuff that you probably didn't think would work particularly well, and it hit, and you're like, oh, wow, why didn't we do this earlier, right?
Ooh, right, and that's the whole key thing with KPIs, right? And it's just trying to. Honestly, Mike, when I first started this, I had no flipping clue what the hell's a KPI. I remember we went to a mastermind, and I'm just standing up there kind of on the hot seat, and I'm just agreeing with everything that maybe Jaden is saying. And I was just, fake it and make it. What is it? Fake it until you make it. And I've learned so much, and having those KPIs is how you steer your business and where to go, left or right, up or down.
That's your dashboard, right?
That is 100% your dashboard.
Yeah. Well, James, you guys have been in Investor Fuel for a few years now, I think. I mean, you've been big givers, have a lot to share. I think you've learned a lot along the way as well. Would you mind just kind of sharing your thoughts, giving maybe a quick testimonial for Investor Fuel?
Gosh, Mike, you guys have been great. We've been in a couple different groups, and honestly, I believe that they're just out there for the money. And I've told you this from day one. Once I met you, you actually, I feel like you actually want to help. And every single time that we go there, how can I help? How can I help? And we've been in other masterminds. It's like, how can I charge you more money so I can get more money? And look at my new shiny red object. You guys aren't like that. The group is not like that. And if you're looking for a very wholesome group to go on vacations, we all play together. Sometimes we go early to these meetups, or we stay late past the time frame to go golfing, to go shooting. It's been a great group, and that's why I get energized when I see my friends from Houston to Oklahoma to Chicago, Dallas. I mean, just all these guys all over the place. It's super awesome to see and get excited about their business. Colorado. It's just, I'm trying to think of all the different names where we're at. So yeah, you guys have been absolutely great. And for the first time, we just didn't want to get out after a year. Hey, we're going to do this for a year. No, we're in. I mean, this is, you guys are our family, and I love talking to people that are in the same industry that I'm in. That's what really makes it really exciting.
Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that. And I appreciate you being a big giver. And I think, we've got something special here and we love it. Glad you're a part of it. And for
Absolutely.
anybody that's listening right now that just got excited about that, you should check us out. So we've got our next event coming up here pretty soon. James,
Nashville, baby.
that's right. If folks wanted to connect with your company or you or whatever, like, where could they go to learn more?
You can actually just email me at james@homeguysmn.com and ask away. I'm a very, in fact, that's what I want to get into more, is doing more teaching. But I gotta get better at speaking, Mike. That's why I like doing these things, and I appreciate you hounding me and getting me to come on. I really appreciate it.
That's thanks for that, James. That's one of the interesting things about our group is there's a lot of folks like you guys that are not all over social media. Not everybody knows who you are, but you're doing 200 deals a year and have been able to pull yourself out of the day to day on your business and doing well. And so that's one of the cool things about Investor Fuel is we've got a lot of folks like that have big hearts, want to share, having great businesses. Everybody has challenges and ups and downs, but there's some sleepers out there. If you're just relying on social media to find answers to your problems or to try to climb the learning curve in your business, you're missing out by getting in a room like ours where there's a bunch of people that you probably don't even know that could really change your life,
Yeah, I think I referred one other guy. He absolutely loves me. Every time I think Blair, he sees me, he's like, man, I'm so thankful you got me into this group.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
awesome. Because you guys are, everybody's a giver on it, and that's
Yeah.
what's super awesome about it. So,
Yeah. Awesome.
really do.
Well, thanks for
Appreciate
sharing.
it.
We'll add your contact info in the show notes here. So for anybody that hopefully you guys got some good value from today, James, really appreciate you sharing with us. And for anybody that wants to learn more about Investor Fuel, you can just go to investorfuel.com. We have a little video on what is Investor Fuel. You can learn a little bit more about it. And if it makes sense, schedule a call with us to have a chat and see if it's right for you. Our next event is coming up here pretty quickly, so it's a good time to reach out and talk about how to join us in Nashville as our next meeting coming up. So thanks again, James, for joining us today, buddy.
Appreciate it. Have a good one, Mike.
And everybody, we'll see you on the next show. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you.
Are you an active real estate investor? If so, and you want to latch on to the power of surrounding yourself with over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors, all committed to building stronger businesses and living richer, fuller lives, you should jump on a call with us to learn more about Investor Fuel. Simply visit investorfuel.com to get started.